We're up to Halacha 52, page 140. One may answer Amen to brachot lisheh b'sukkah. Then an Ashkenazi recites on mezonot food. Okay, usually we don't make lisheh b'sukkah mezonot, only if you eat 162 grams, like we said yesterday. But if you hear Ashkenazi saying bracha on mezonot, lisheh b'sukkah on mezonot food, even less than 162 grams, you're allowed to say Amen. Okay. 53. One may drink anything outside the sukkah, even beer, liquor, and wine. Therefore, you don't have to do Havdalah in the sukkah if you don't want to. It's better to, but it's not obligated. 54. Once one begins to eat a kibetzah of bread in the sukkah, he may no longer even drink water outside the sukkah. Once you start a meal, you cannot eat nothing outside of the sukkah. Similarly, what if you ate a piece of food, and it's in your mouth, and you want to go inside to get a drink, to get some cups, to get some plates? You cannot even chew that food in your mouth outside of the sukkah. You got to wait until you swallow the food in your mouth, then you can leave the sukkah. 55. Even on Shabbat Yom Tov, one does not have to eat in the sukkah unless he's eating kibitzah mezonot, other than rice or bread. 56. He wants to eat melav malka motzei Shabbat with bread immediately after saying Havdalah. He should recite the bracha l'sheh b'sukkah before the hagefen on the wine during Havdalah. 57. It is praiseworthy to eat everything in the sukkah, even foods that you're not obligated to eat in the sukkah. However, l'sheh b'sukkah may not be recited when doing so. Ashkenazim have the custom when they do sukkah hopping. So visiting a sukkah, they say l'sheh b'sukkah. When visiting a sukkah, one does not recite the bracha of l'sheh b'sukkah unless you're eating kibitzah of bread or 162 grams of mezonot. 59. Throughout Sukkot, one is obligated to sleep in the sukkah. You're obligated. It's not a nice thing to do. It's not cool. It's not cute. It's obligation. You have to sleep in the sukkah, even when taking a short nap. Even a short nap, a snack, you're allowed to have outside the sukkah. But I always sleep in the sukkah. Yeah, you're invited to my sukkah if you want to sleep in the sukkah. So, what's it called? The person has no, even a short nap, a snack of a sleep is still obligated in the sukkah. 60. A bracha is not recited when sleeping in the sukkah. Why not? If it's a mitzvah sleep in the sukkah, why don't we make a bracha lisheh b'sukkah or lishon b'sukkah? Why not? So the Tosafot says maybe it's going to be, he says by Birkat HaMapil, right? He says over there it might be a blessing in vain because maybe he won't fall asleep, right? But as someone asked me, what's this gulat fall asleep? Somebody said, put a shiur. Put a shiur, you'll knock out right away. I don't know if it's respectful to the shiur to do that, to make it like a lullaby, but usually people pass out when they hear a shiur. But here it says this Tosafot, you're also not allowed to make a bracha when you go to sleep in the sukkah because he's going to be bracha in vain. Chas v'shalom. You may not fall asleep. So what happens if you find somebody sleeping outside the sukkah? There's a big debate. Some poskim say that you have to wake the guy up. You have to remind him, hey, you can't sleep outside the sukkah. Go inside the sukkah. Even just like by Kohanim, right? Kohanim, you're obligated to tell them, hey, get out of this room. There's a dead body in this room. It's tumah. You can't be here. Get out. So therefore, it might be the same thing over here. 61. Even if one has a very small sukkah and must sleep in an uncomfortable position to fit inside, you're nevertheless obligated to sleep in the sukkah. If two people made a sukkah and there's only enough space in the sukkah for one person to sleep, they should take turns sleeping in the sukkah. 63. One may remove his table to fit his bed in the sukkah. 64. Even though one does not generally sleep at home by himself, it is permissible to sleep alone in the sukkah even with the light on. It's not preferable. It's dangerous a little bit spiritually to sleep in a house alone by yourself. But in the sukkah, you're allowed to sleep alone. It's not a problem. 65. When there's no one else sleeping in the sukkah, preferably one's wife should sleep with him in the sukkah. However, she may sleep indoors if it's difficult for her to sleep in the sukkah. 66. Even if one needs to fulfill the mitzvah of onah, one does not have to sleep in the sukkah if it's not private enough. But if it's private enough, you could do mitzvah onah in the sukkah. Yeah, you know what mitzvah onah is, right? Correct, good. 67. Even a man in his first year of marriage must sleep in the sukkah. However, if one's wife is afraid to sleep alone, one may be lenient and sleep indoors. But it's only first year. The guy was married for many years already. Even if his wife's afraid, he has to still sleep in the sukkah. 68. A man who has small children that often need help during the night is permitted to sleep indoors in order to help his wife if she's unable to take care of them by herself. 69. If one lives in a dangerous neighborhood and is afraid that he might be injured or robbed, if he sleeps in the sukkah, he may sleep indoors. A lot of people's sukkot, they have locks. The doors, the wood panel ones, they have locks. You can lock the door. 70. If it is not obligatory, but it could be that a raccoon may come in from the schach, right? 70. It's not obligatory to sleep in the sukkah in very cold places where you'll become sick if you do so. But I think in Sukkot it's going to be good weather, hopefully. Worst case scenario, you put a heater.
What about rains?
Oh yeah, rains obviously. You don't have to sleep in the sukkah. Oh yeah, it happens sometimes. 71. One who sees his friend sleeping outside the sukkah does not have to wake him up, especially if he's in a deep sleep. However, if possible, one should try to lightly wake him up and tell him to go to sleep in the sukkah. Right? You see a guy sleeping in shul, what do? Usually what you do is you go to the guy, you rub his back. Tzaddik! We need you for the minyan, Tzaddik! Wake up! Come sleep in the sukkah, Tzaddik! You know, it's a style today. The guy who's doing something wrong, you call him a tzaddik. Well, we manifest positive thinking. 72. Even if it's slightly raining, one does not have to sleep in the sukkah. 73. If it was raining during the day and one entered his house to take a nap, he must return to the sukkah if he wakes up and rain has stopped. However, if at night one went to sleep indoors because it was raining, he does not have to return to sukkah if he wakes up in the middle of the night, or even if he wakes after dawn. One who is nevertheless does return to sukkah when the rain has stopped is praiseworthy. Yeah, so the guy woke up in the middle of the night, he sees it stopped raining, he doesn't have to get up and schlep to the sukkah. He could finish his sleep till the morning. 74. Women and children below the age of bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah are not obligated in the mitzvah of eating and sleeping in the sukkah. If a woman wants to be stringent and eat in the sukkah, she's allowed to, but she's not allowed to say the bracha. If a person hears a woman make a bracha in the sukkah, even if she's Ashkenazi, you're not allowed to say amen. You can't verbalize it. You can think it, but you can't verbalize it. Even though a woman is not obligated to sit in the sukkah, it's praiseworthy for her to do so, especially when she's with her husband. Since a woman is not obligated to eat in the sukkah, when she hears a man saying the bracha l'sheh b'sukkah during kiddush, she should not answer amen, because it's going to be interruption, because she doesn't need that bracha. However, Ashkenazi woman may answer. 79. A woman was stringent to sit in sukkah for several years and did not realize she was not obligated to do so, does not have to perform hatarat nedarim if she wants to sit indoors. However, if she wants to begin sitting indoors permanently, she should do hatarat nedarim. A woman can be in the sukkah even if she's nidah. There's some opinions who held a woman who's nidah cannot come to the shul and cannot touch the Sefer Torah. You would think maybe even sukkah also. No. You're allowed to go hear the Sefer Torah. You're allowed to touch the Sefer Torah. You're allowed to go to shul. You're allowed to be in the sukkah. Baruch Amen. Amen.